Hey, Thrive Out listeners, Lou Diamond here. You're going to enjoy this fun episode with JJ Flizanes, the empowerment strategist. And you'll hear us talk about this really cool workshop happening on February 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, called 3 Reasons Why Traditional Talk Therapy is Ineffective. JJ is an unbelievable facilitator. This workshop is going to be awesome. It's really going to give you great perspective. And we have a special sign-up code so that you can attend for free. Head on over to thriveloud.com/JJ Free Workshop. That's all one word, JJ FREE Workshop. Head on over there, thriveloud.com/JJ Free Workshop, and sign up for this event, February 23rd, 8 p.m. East, 5 p.m. Pacific. 3 reasons why traditional talk therapy is ineffective. Ahead of that, enjoy this fun conversation and learn all about it. Thanks again and enjoy.
So here's how it works. You take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up in your bed, and you believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you listen to Thrive Loud, and Lou shows you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Want to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Master the Art of Connecting and professional speaker Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on the planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to a spectacular, momentous, incredible, absolutely fantabulous episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. If you are joining us live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, I don't know, in my own home and in the guest's home, I guess we're live there too, but you will be joining in and having an amazing conversation because we do something special for the catch-up episodes on Thrive Loud. If you've not heard this before, and that is we bring back an absolutely amazing guest. And that guest is so awesome because she's got so many cool things going on. She also has really good hair. I'm a little jealous about hair, as you can tell. She's the empowerment strategist. She has got more podcasts than I can ever list on this show, but I always just know her as like, you know, the Fit to Love podcast, because that was like the easiest one. She is a person who has actually done a reading of mine on this program before years ago, and all of it came true. So it's really cool because she's actually really accurate. I kid you not, but she's absolutely amazing. The empowerment strategist, JJ Flizanes. Hi, JJ.
Thank you. Hi, Lou. You know, you mentioned I actually have like another show. I'm not going to mention it, but yeah, I know. Well, I have a couple shows, but look what I bought for my show.
You have a tiara?
It's do.
It's like a real crown, really.
It really is a real crown. Like I bought it to wear when I do the show. I don't know why it looks so crooked. Okay, there we go. To do the show this new show that I have, that's actually for me, and so I'm not even going to tell anybody about it. But it's a podcast that is like a diary for me. And it's very special. It's like for me just to be myself 100% and not care what anyone thinks of me and not please anybody else. And I don't care if I piss anybody else off. Anyway, so when you said I have more podcasts that we could list on the show, I wanted to share my tiara since I haven't gotten to show it to anybody because I don't do it a video. I just do it audio. This is just for me. For me to feel like.
I feel absolutely blessed and honored, as should our listeners, that you did don the tiara. I was actually going to say that I think we should like give you the title, just as like Howard Stern calls himself the king of all media. I think you're like the queen of all podcasts. I think that should work. Can we go that with JJ Flizanes? Because she's really
I'll take goddess. How's that?
Goddess. Oh my God. So much better.
I'll take goddess.
Certain people will agree with that comment more so than others, but I'm going to get on the bandwagon there. Okay. So JJ, first of all, let's do like the little rewind and catch up. It's been a while since you've been on the show, but our listeners would love to know kind of like what's been your main gig and focus of late, and then we'll deal with all the promo fun stuff thereafter. That sound like a plan?
Yeah, I'll even do a really quick catch up. So when last you heard me, I was probably just a personal trainer and podcaster with some life coaching in there, and I use astrology. And what has happened in the last year and a half is that on one of my podcasts, well, she was on several times, a doctor, Dr. Nisha Winters, who wrote The Metabolic Approach to Cancer, was on, and she and I really like leaned into the emotional side of healing and the emotional side of cancer and how the emotions play into disease and healing. And I got so excited because I have been harping on emotions. I try to fit it into every conversation, into everywhere. Like it always comes back to emotional processing. It comes back to how we are in the world and what I think is the most important topic of conversation ever, which is emotions, because the only reason you want what you want is because you think you'll feel better when you have it. And the whole idea of everything we do in life, every single decision you make, every single one of them has an emotional component. It's because you want to feel better, whether it be saving money, having a home, having security, feeling whatever, feeling free. Every decision you make has to do with how you feel. And in my opinion, most people suck greatly at dealing with their feelings, allowing their feelings, understanding their feelings, and processing their feelings. So Dr. Nasha was on, and she has doctors that she trains because she doesn't see patients anymore. And after the book, doctors fled to say, teach me about this metabolic approach to cancer. And so they have a whole curriculum. And in that, as she and I are talking about emotions, I said, okay, well, what are you telling them to do about emotions? Because that's part of it, right? She goes, absolutely. Because in her Terrain 10 system, number 10 is mental, emotional, and spiritual. And I'm like, okay, what are you telling them to do? And of course, she's not telling them to do anything because they have 9 other parts of the terrain they have to work on. And these are medical doctors and naturopaths, and they're not dealing with the emotions. But I was like, hello, we need a process. I want to be that. That is what I do. And so that kind of started this relationship. And now I work with cancer doctors, helping their patients emotionally heal.
Oh, that's awesome. By the way, I was laughing because when you said most people suck, and then there was like a pause at dealing with emotions, I'm like, did she just say most people suck? No, that wouldn't be
right. Dealing with emotions. Yes.
No,
that's
totally
the part. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So that's awesome. And that's wonderful work that you're doing. It also fits in very nicely with obviously your wellness underlying being and who you are as a, not only as I'm looking behind your mind, body, and soul, which is what this is all about. I never know which way to move either.
I know.
With all that. And I've always loved that swirl, the importance. And that's really where JJ comes together. And coming together is something actually you do a great job of. Actually, what I would love for you to share with the listeners is that you are one of the better people at doing this, at holding workshops, events, sessions together, promoting the heck out of it, doing one of the best jobs I've ever seen. But we'll lead into the one that's coming in. I want to like hold that as a little carrot at the end. But I want to talk about, you've been doing a lot of this stuff, not only in this space, but in different areas as well, from podcasting to helping to market your business, to also to dealing with the issues that you deal with on all your programs. Can you talk to the listeners about that? I think that'll be cool.
Are we asking me how or what?
Yeah. I mean, like, you're really doing a great job of holding a lot of these great sessions, workshops over the last several years. I've been watching it, and it's phenomenal. You get a lot of attendees, you actually grow your business from it, but you do a really good job of putting together great content. So that's what I wanted to
yeah. Well, again, on the mind, body, soul, whatever. Yeah. And as you can see on my podcast, so I started with Fit to Love, and it was
you got it. There you go.
Right there. I started with Fit to Love, and it was all of the things as a personal trainer that I knew my clients wanted: cooking, healthy cooking, exercise, and talk about joints and how to exercise properly and not hurt your joints, and to be effective with what it is you're doing. And then the wellness components, everything from detoxification to hormones to, mental and spiritual and emotional health. I did all the things. And so I have a love language of quality time. So I also believe that change happens and healing happens when people come together. And when people go through programs that force them to expand and grow and do things, literally actively do things differently than they did before. Some of it is mental and emotional, meaning understanding a different perspective. And I have so many tools in my toolbox. It's so heavy. I have to have another toolbox soon because I keep getting more. My trainers are like, oh, I'm looking forward to the next level because I even started certification.
Yeah.
So I have the Empowerment Strategist certification because I can't help all these people, and I need to teach people the tools that I use and to help them coach people in a new way. and in a way that's quick and effective and does make lasting change. So the message is always throughout about empowering people in all areas of life, even business. And I talk about business a little bit on the show. I have a mastermind, but I'm really, they go hand in hand. And I've realized over the years with working with podcasters and having a podcast mastermind, I don't want to work with people that don't get that it's all connected. Yeah. I see business owners, and what stops them isn't that they don't know the latest, greatest trick. It's their self-esteem. It's their blocks for being able to receive more love, success, joy, and abundance. It's the ability to receive a compliment. It's being able to have better self-care to allow in more. And it's, so to me, in my perfect world, you understand all of it, and you want all of it because you want the best life possible. And when I bring people together, just that's when change happens. And so I had to, the journey of your own evolution, if you will, me, everybody in business and in life is a constant, stepping one foot in front of the other and saying, this is how I want to be. This is how I want to serve people. And all of it can be very scary until you start doing it. And then you learn along the way, and hopefully, and you get testimonials. It's like, I would not be here right now had I not started my podcast. We would not be having this conversation. I wouldn't know you had I not started my podcast. But it's finding ways to empower people in all areas of life.
So this is why JJ is a master connector, listeners, because she understands and appreciates the value of connection. And she also has used this platform of podcasting across many different programs to speak about it, which now brings me to the weirdest segue I've ever had, because the first question I had when JJ told me what she was up to next, I got confused, because she seems to help people and talk them through their problems. But you've actually are putting together a workshop where we'll call this talk therapy is ineffective. There are actually reasons that, in your mind, 3 reasons why talk therapy is ineffective. Can you tell me how this came to be? This amazing program that you're about to do. Yeah.
So let's go back to the Dr. Nasha story, and that we talked about, you're empowering your doctors to work with patients in this way. And the emotional piece is one of them. And so she actually had me on to talk to the doctors about the work that I'm doing and how it's different than therapy. And again, for those of you out there that have had a really great therapist and your life has changed because of your therapist, your life has really changed. You feel healed. You can be in the same situation and feel differently and act differently. Kudos to all of you that are out there. It's, in my opinion, not the norm. I don't hear a lot of positive things. I don't see a lot of positive things. I've known people who've been in therapy for 5-7 years who don't seem any different, except that they may be aware of their issues, but they still have them. They still react the same way. They still feel the same way. They're still stuck in the same patterns. And when I started doing the work that I'm doing, because I'm not a therapist, I'm a coach. And when it was a really, but I've always been afraid to help people for real. I do it in the way I was doing it, like in personal training. But then when I stepped out into the world with my very first event after I did my podcast called Releasing What Weighs You Down, that was in 2018, January 2018. I kind of claimed, hey, I'm going to claim this. I'm going to claim that I do this. And I started to work my tools with people that would come. And I just would get the results of like, wow, I was in therapy for 5 years. And after one session with you, my whole life has changed. And it just kept happening. And so there's been a pattern. And when there's been a pattern of even learning for me of understanding that certain people resist therapy. So if the model of therapy, and I've been in therapy and I've had multiple therapists and I've worked with them as my clients, as their client. And again, I'm not putting them all under the bus. I'm just saying that there's a lot of bad therapists, and the process of therapy also lacks some things and part of it's legal for them to protect them. But what I have found for me and many of the people who listen to my show and been to my events and have worked with me as a coach and have done any of the programs, or even just listen to my show, I'll get people listen to my show and say, I've been in therapy for 3 years. I started listening to your show and my life has changed, because I give people tools, and the tools are they're quickly getting them into something, into either a different part of their brain or into a different habit, different mindset, different perspective. And so my message right now, for a lot of people because I'm about efficiency, and I definitely agree with anyone who doesn't want to go sit and talk to somebody and tell them what happened yesterday and complain about it and then leave feeling no better or not having any other tools, or trying to get to know somebody and have to go back all the way. And I'm going to tell you every time I'm coming in, I'm going to tell you about my family and this person, that person, this story and that story. I get it. But there's another way. And so I'm just wanting to educate the people who are first, understand that your emotions create your reality and that they block you from getting more joy, love, success, and abundance. And you are, you need an outlet for that. So the workshop is called The 3 Reasons Why Traditional Talk Therapy is Ineffective. Now I'm going to go over more than 3, but I'm going to set it up for you so that you, but I'm going to go over the main 3 and then kind of things you can do instead and what to look for and what to help. If you love the person you work with, okay, then there are things within that you can ask for. And because some people go in and and I recognize that even in myself, I had somebody that I worked with and I even went in asking for something specific and we never did it. We did it one time. And I kept telling her every single time that I wanted to do it. And then I write to her, I say, why didn't we do it? And she said, because you came in and talked about what happened yesterday. I said, because you asked me. And I thought, because it's your room, you're the professional, you're supposed to be leading me, but she isn't a leader. Right. And I went, oh. So then the next person I saw, I said, this is what I want to do. And this is what I want to do. And then I got what I wanted. But most people aren't doing that. They're not coming in. They're just coming in and expecting to be led. And if the person is there as a reflector and just listening to you, they're not going to lead you. So, I can help you make therapy better or, ask your therapist to do things for you or to work on certain things. So it's called 3 Reasons Why Traditional Talk Therapy Isn't Effective.
Okay. So who is the ideal target for this? Who's the person that you are trying to reach out to? We have a lot of listeners. We have a lot of people. And obviously everybody's trying to figure out, if you have anyone who's going through therapy would be somebody that would want to understand this. But is there someone specifically or that your message traditionally has resonated more with, or that you feel might actually be more targeted for this than anyone else?
Well, I'm not trying to convince anyone who isn't ready to deal with their emotions to deal with their emotions. I do that on other podcasts. But this is specifically for the person who has the expectation that they should feel better now, whether they're in therapy or not. There are people that just hate the traditional therapy model. So that, of course, would be, but they believe in self-help or they believe in, reading a book, or even in coaching. And so someone who is either in therapy and not getting the results that they want, someone who did therapy and didn't get the results they want, or someone who has resistance to therapy, but does understand the importance of working on yourself and that you literally are the creator of your own reality. So everything's going to be a reflection of you. And if you want more and better in your life, you got to work on you.
Do you think that there's there's the lovely expression, everything in moderation, right? Too much therapy probably isn't a good thing. Not enough of it might not be good either. But all the well-balanced, and I think about, whenever I think of you, I do think of the picture and the image behind you, but I also think of the balance that's there. How do you help people achieve the balance that you actually are able to do all these different things at once and are very conscious in making sure that you're always balanced? But not everybody has that ability. In a lot of your work and helping people to empower them, is that part of some of the takeaways that you give them, is ways that they can make this part of their discipline on an ongoing basis after the workshops and after the times that they're with you?
Yeah. Well, again, it's tools. I mean, I have people who listen to the podcast who I'll get emails from that tell me that their life and they've grown so much since they started listening to the show, and I've never met them and I've never talked with them and they've never bought anything from me. So I help people with tools, and then they take those tools and then they use them. You mentioned an interesting word about discipline, and as a Virgo, that would be very apropos of you, because it's the checklist. It always comes back to that.
It always comes back to that. My goodness, who knew?
Well, but it's a good segue to say not everyone's like you, and not everyone's going to respond the way you're going to want the detailed step 1, step 2, step 3. How do I do it right? That's what you're going to want to know, right? And some people are going to run from that list. They don't want a list. Okay. So it's very personalized. But again, one of those tools, astrology, is definitely one of the tools that I use. I'm not going to teach it in this therapy workshop necessarily, but it is a tool that I use, and it is a tool that I have classes. I have 2 levels of astrology classes people can take to understand. So the empowerment strategy is, how am I different? What are my zones of genius? Who am I in the world? How do I create balance? How am I out of balance? And when you understand and can see the patterns in the picture, you can choose the things that will help you get into balance. You can be aware of the patterns. I have a client who's in the mastermind and this year, and she was in last year, and she said to me, I handled what's going on right now so much better this time than I did last year. And I said, it's because you now have an observer perspective of the pattern. When you can see the pattern, you stop being a victim to it and you stop being sideswiped by the trigger that happens because you understand it's a pattern and you know what it's about and you know what it's connected to. So, so I think that whoever is listening to this and it speaks to them, again, if it's not you, but there's somebody else that you know who's been in therapy for a long time and nothing seems to change, it has to be a self-diagnose. Like, in my opinion, if you're not happier, healthier, more successful, and literally your life looks different, then it's probably not working in some way.
I want to hit this question with you because we haven't spoken in a podcast environment since the pandemic. And I could be wrong on that. I may have done something with you like as a panel or something like that. But specifically in this environment where we hear it, there are more and more people who are facing depression. Suicides are up. Mental illness is becoming so much more prevalent and much more aware in so many different avenues, from athletes to everyone. The world has put a lot of pressure on us, and it makes people like coaches and whatnot very, very busy. And I always want to know, do you sense that vibe that it almost feels like the volume? You have an ability to sense other things. I know it's more than just one-on-one stuff. You can feel a room. You can understand what's going on. You have that ability to assess an energy in that. Where you are right now, do you think that's the case? Because it depends on where you are in the world or whatnot, but it does seem more prevalent than ever.
Oh, and it is. And it's because you have taken away a lot of people's coping mechanisms. That's why there's more weight gain. That's why there's more alcoholism, because now we're implementing, instead of, we can't go to work, we can't see other people, we can't go outside, we can't go on vacation. Well, you can, but I did. But anyway, the people who feel restricted and closed in, what happens is now your habits have been changed and you have to deal with you. That's why, I mean, in a very good way, marriages were either going to, get stronger or fall apart, because you're being forced to be with somebody that maybe you were avoiding before. And so, but that's part of the epidemic, if you will, of what's going on in the world. And it has been, is that we keep denying and not facing what's going on inside of us. We go outside of us. We're always looking at what's going on and we're trying to avoid it. We're running from our feelings. It's literally like it's not hard for me because I freaking love this stuff. But for most people, dealing with your emotions is like the scariest thing you can think of. And because of that, when you close people in and you tell them they can't go anywhere, they can't see anybody, and things that they may have done to cope with their stresses or deny their stresses or manage their stresses, right? I'm a big one on the difference between stress management and stress reduction. Why would you want to manage something? Don't you want to get rid of it? I mean, it makes no sense. Stress management. I'm just going to shove the paper. I'm going to rearrange the stress so it looks different, but it's still there. That's ridiculous. So yes, I think that in one aspect, it's not a good thing,
right?
But it can be if you take your power back and say, I'm depressed and I want to do something about it, because obviously I've been running from it, because all this situation has done is amplified what's already under the surface.
Let's do the plug thing, and then I want to have a fun well, we've been having fun since the very beginning because it's Lou and JJ here. I want you to share with the listeners, we will put it up here, where they need to go, websites, URLs, stuff like that, for the free workshop that's coming up, and anything else you want to plug. This is your plug window, JJ. We'll put it in the show notes, but it always gets more engagement when they hear from you. And the people who are like driving, we don't want them to pull over and just search right away. So they should hear it,
Well, don't you have a link?
Of course we do, but I have got the regular JJ link, but I don't have the actual. I have the link in the notes for anyone who signed up for this thing. They can sign up for this particular thing. So click on that link. But where can they go if they want to learn more about it? It's just that link. That'll do it, right? The link that I put in the show notes.
Yep, the link you're going to put in the show notes will be the link.
Listeners, that's a link, and it's too hard to. I'm going to give it a cool name. I'm going to say JJ is the coolest ever, and we're going to rename that link, and that's what it'll be. Would that work?
You can do whatever you want. It's your link. However you get people to click on links from your show is whatever you're going to do.
We will do that. Okay. Any other things coming down the pike aside from this event? What else is going on in the world of JJ? Plug wise here. Anything coming up after this?
Well,
event?
I'm writing my 4th book,
Ooh.
which is going to be quote surprise, surprise on emotions. It's literally like my life's work. So this is like all of this, what's going on right now is just sort of my whole entire beingness. It's like, yeah, I was born to do this, and I was born to put this message out into the world and to help people in this way, because I love it and because I see it mechanically, and I can help people really be different, be happy, every way. And it happens all the time. I love empowering people. I love you to feel good about yourself, and that's all I want. So that's why I'm doing this. So other than that, I mean, we bought a house, so I'd love you to come visit.
Yes, listeners need to know that Lou needs to get to California. He needs to get through. I'm going to get Ojai, right? It's OJAI is the name of the town. We got to get to Ojai. Lou and Janet are making a trip to California. We're going to do an Ojai trip. And the same trip, we're going to go to LA to the people who are listening. I need to get there. We're even going to see the people in Palm Springs. We're doing a whole up and down thing. Yes.
Nice.
So it's on the docket. If I wasn't so gosh darn busy, it would happen faster. But it's on the plan. It's on the plan. All we need is the state of California to loosen up a little bit. Can that happen?
Yeah, I know. I hope so. I'm working hard at that. Also for you, Lou, you when you get here, it's not that far from LA. So you can, it's only 90 minutes from LA, and you might want to have them come up here. It's much nicer here. Even though depending on where you're going in LA, I was living in LA for 21 years.
I think we should just go to a vineyard and drink. What I actually want to do is crash on your wine podcast with you, Michael, and Doug. And
oh my God, please.
That would be a lot of fun, because you guys would obviously be way more educated than I am. And I just drink everything. I don't know if you remember, years ago, New York City did a pizza competition with all the pizza places, which now David Portnoy goes around and he takes bites of pizza everywhere, which is pretty brilliant, and it gets a ranking. But in New York City, they did it, and there were all these punk rockers, and these punk rockers actually gave the original ratings, and they were the ones who made like the top pizza places. But my favorite was the guy in the back. He just kept eating all the pizza. They were the one judging it, and he just kept eating and eating and eating. I'd be that on the wine stuff. I'd be the one drinking and drinking and drinking. So,
but you'd also be talking and talking and talking too. So yeah, I think so.
I think it would be
it's a date, and Michael would love it. We would have so much fun.
All right. So let's go through some fun things, because we've done speed rounds with you. We've done movies with you, but I want to know where all this goes, because this is going to be pretty cool. Okay. Is there a show that you've been watching or like streaming of late? Is there something in the stream sphere?
Yeah, we are real full on. I'm all about Gotham right now. Like literally Doug and I are watching Gotham because we found it on Netflix, and then I'm watching Batwoman at the same time. So it's like I got Gotham going on 2 different shows. Yeah, and that's just fun. I mean, I had him go through the entire Matrix.
Oh, and I did see that too. The new
all 4
Resurrection.
of them.
Yes, Resurrection, which was like Disney, but yes.
Well, now he understands the joke, like the what people say when they like make a quote from the Matrix. He now goes, "Oh, that's from that movie." Like, yes, and it's
rather ironic, because at the opening of just about every one of his podcast shows is a movie quote of some sort. So it is kind of amazing. We're gonna have to have a conversation with him.
And he hasn't seen most of them, so
yeah, he wouldn't know.
Yeah,
it's all
I'm trying. I'm trying to catch him up.
Okay, so I want to ask this, because I know you have real specific eating and dining critique. So I would love to know what your favorite cauliflower based food is, because I've seen you have cauliflower crusted this, a sandwich, a pizza, a that. Is there something within that sphere? Because I've been enjoying some cauliflower crusted pizza. Is there a specific one that you like?
I love cauliflower crust. I don't make it because I try to stay away from dairy, and usually the best ones have some Parmesan cheese in it to hold it together. Yeah. And otherwise they're kind of soggy. So I do love a good cauliflower crust, and if you have to have it with dairy, okay, so be it. I really, cauliflower by itself. Well, I use it in soups. Cauliflower rice is probably like I made a stir fry, like what would it be? A fried rice, like an Asian fried rice with cauliflower rice, which was
that's
really
pretty awesome.
Yeah, and of course, my favorite topping of all is butter and truffle salt. So,
you've had a bunch of vacations and holidays. I want to capture these because this is from my memory and my stalking you in social. There was a trip to Greece.
Yes, that was last year.
There was a trip I want to say, was it to Mexico or something?
That
something
was last
south.
year.
That was last year. And then there was another trip recently, but I don't know where you went. Where did you go? The most recent vacation you went on.
The most recent vacation was to Vegas, and it wasn't really a vacation. That was Thanksgiving.
But that was
Thanksgiving.
Vegas is a vacation. It's not a normal place.
True.
You know?
It is like Disneyland for adults. But we were in Vegas for Thanksgiving. No, the most recent trip was Greece. Okay. That was in September of 2021.
Which was your favorite? You were on islands? Were you island hopping? Or was it
we finally went to Santorini. I'm like, okay, we have to come back here. I get it now. The hype. I get it.
Did you do the thing where I've seen this? I've had friends who've gone there. They put their feet in like some kind of like a water thing, and there are these little fish that are like mini piranhas. Did you do that?
No, but we did that in Cabo. I did that in Cabo in 2018. October of 2018, we were in Cabo.
Listeners, this is how you catch up with someone socially. You literally like look at them on the social. Oh, that looks cool. I want to ask them that question. All right, I've got a wine-related question from you. If you have your choice of your go-to wines, like the most common wines, 1, 2, and 3, the ones you love to have. Is there a certain type of grape or
absolutely?
Let's hear it.
Absolutely. The first one is Syrah.
Ah, okay.
My first trip to Italy, I had a Syrah and I tested that out because I thought, all right, let's see how Italy does with Syrah. And I loved it. I'm like, okay, cool. Syrah. Yes, check. The next would be Zinfandel. I'm a big Zin fan.
Yeah.
And no, white Zinfandel does not count. Please never say those words together in the same sentence. Zin is red. Thank you. And it should be anyway. You can. So Zinfandel, real wine drinkers don't drink white Zinfandel. That's called rosé.
Yes.
And then I guess there's here in, and I don't know if we just do in California, it's a Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. It's a GSM, and not everybody in the world does a GSM, but those blend together is a really great blend. I love Mourvedre by itself. I love Syrah and I love Grenache. So I guess if I had to do just one grape, Grenache would be the next one.
All right. I like that. Just a note, one time I had a petite Syrah, which is way heavier than a regular Syrah. That's like the biggest thing. Oh, it's going to be like a little Syrah. And 2 minutes later, I was asleep. Yeah, that didn't work. As you could say, I'm the guy just drinking all the wine and talking the most about it. Okay. JJ Flizanes, everybody, 3 reasons why talk therapy isn't effective. We're going to actually hit a tag on this so that we can give you the exact link on where to go so you can listen to it right after we wrap up this episode. So good to see you. So good to catch up with you.
Thank you.
Everything good? Everything's going to be good and everything's going to be great, right? That's how I always look at you. I get empowered when I talk to you.
Thank you. Well, because I'm full of hope and I'm a good problem solver. And that's kind of what I hope to get people to do when they come to this workshop, this free workshop, which by the way, there'll be a Q&A at the end. So if anybody has any more specific questions, but I just want to empower people to not feel stuck and to know that they can have freedom in all areas of their life and have more joy, love, success, and abundance. And just want to help people do that. I really, it's frustrating, although it's not my, people are ready when they're ready. And if they're not asking, they're not listening. But so it's learning to just allow people their process. But when you see someone, and everyone can relate to this, if you do any kind of business with helping people in any way, that you see there's the hard path and here's the easier path, and people keep taking the hard path, and you're like, just come over here. It's a couple steps over here. You could just be a lot easier, right? And then it's like, but they want to keep taking the hard path. Okay, so for those of you that want to take the easier path, it may have a little bit of a hill and you might have to climb it a little bit, but it ultimately is going to get you to where you want to go. So that's all I'd say about, that's my energy. That's my belief. There's always an answer. There's always a way. There's always a way.
JJ Flizanes, there's always a way. Thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Thanks for having me, Lou.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.